Hello, peace and blessings. I'm Giovanna, the Spiritual Love Healer. I am an energy healer, Reiki master teacher, tarot reader, and spiritual life coach. And I happen to love tarot and oracle card decks. So a few weeks ago, I shared a review and a walkthrough on the Deep Place Oracle and got a comment from Shay Love. So I'm going to read the comment and answer the questions and video because I figured that would be a lot easier than trying to respond with a message. So Shay's message says, hold on, let me see if I can swivel this around a little bit. Okay, it says, thank you for showing the cards. I think you're the only channel I could find that actually flips through all the cards. I've been eyeing this deck for a while now, and the artwork is definitely what draws me in, but after seeing all the keywords, kind of makes me pause. Some of the keywords seem repetitive. Have you had a chance to work with the deck? And is the guidebook really good? And does it give a lot of information? And lastly, in your opinion, overall, how do you think the deck could help someone in what ways? I would love to hear more before I make the purchase. Thank you very much. One of my favorite topics, decks, how to work with them, and different things like that. So thank you for asking my opinion, Shay. And here is your answer. Okay, so the guidebook. Let's talk about the guidebook. So this is the guidebook for the deck. My nails are not done. It's okay. The structure of this deck, there are above, below, and liminal, or like the in-between. And in the book, it does talk about each card. So there's a good juicy paragraph that gives like the definition or the meaning of the card. Then it gives some themes or keywords for each card. And then there are also some questions to help you dive a little bit deeper. Those could be used as like journaling prompts. And then there are affirmations for each card, as well as a spiritual practice. So the practice could be journaling. It could be like one has like watch the sun or moon rise. What do you feel rise within you? So I actually think that this guidebook is definitely very juicy, and it does have a lot of good information in it. I do like guidebooks like that, but also I think it's more important to like kind of create our own guidebook. So decks that I work with heavily, I create like a tarot journal for that deck. And then as I either I'll study the deck, so where I pull a card, write out what comes up for me, you know, what does it bring forward for me, and then journal that down. Or as I'm working with the deck and maybe I'll get an insight or something will spark something in me to, you know, document about that particular card. So I'll do that as well. But I do think that this guidebook for this oracle deck is very helpful, very instructive, especially like if maybe you're not familiar with some of the keywords, or if the artwork doesn't spark something for you. There is enough inside of this book to really get you going and give you a good base on which to start. So yeah, I think the guidebook is really good and gives a lot of information. So I do work with this deck. I'm not going to say that I have worked with it on a daily basis, but I do pair it with the Alchemistical Tarot. And I really, really love this tarot deck. I think they play so well together. The artwork is beautiful. Like, this deck is absolutely beautiful. And the artwork itself, it really speaks to me. I was so grateful to come across this deck and be able to back it on Kickstarter because it's absolutely gorgeous. So how I work with this deck, so I sometimes like program or pair my decks together. So this deck really is like a conversation with my higher self. It helps me to like tap into my subconscious, my higher self, to communicate, to you know, have that conversation. So I do use this more as like a personal development, spiritual conversation with self type of deck, right? So when I pair my tarot and oracle card decks, so the way that I would use this deck then would be as like the overall theme. So let's say I was doing a spread. I would pull a theme card from this deck to really help me anchor into the message that's coming out of this particular tarot deck. I have also just used this deck just to kind of pull a card to see what comes up. For me, this deck is definitely one of those decks that can kind of help me tap into like what might be lurking beneath the surface for myself. So for shadow work, it's recommended you can just use it, you know, just as messages from spirit. Like, what does my higher self need me to know today? So you don't necessarily have to, you know, program your deck or anything like that. But I do like that this deck is kind of walks us through all the energetic spaces, the above, the below, and the in between. And so what I really liked about this is that the creator, she says, like, may these cards support you in feeling deeply, grieving for real, creating from soul, and exploring what's alive in the shadow. So I do feel it is a great deck to work with for like shadow work, or just for peering into the shadows, for needing to do some healing. I've had, and that's one of the things that really drew me to this deck. I had a pretty big loss at the beginning of last year, and even like my body, I'm starting to like feel a lot of pain in that area that's coming up. And so I like this deck for shadow work. I like this deck for exploring what is going on with me underneath the surface. What is it that I'm not seeing? What is this energy? I love it. This, I will say, is kind of a versatile deck. You can probably use it for anything. So if you want to use it for personal growth and say, you know, what area of my life do I need to focus on today? And the moon just popped up. So maybe it's like tapping into my intuition. Because the water, right, emotions, that's what that represents to me. When I see like cosmos, that to me, because that's how I kind of like go up and connect into higher channels of information. So it's like, is there something emotionally that I am experiencing that's not allowing me to connect? Or is there something happening intuitively that I'm not seeing, right? Because her eyes are closed. Is there something that I need to feel into? And that's just one way of working with the deck. If and I will say too, like pulling a card each day is a beautiful way to like connect with the decks. I want to look at the moon and see what she has in this booklet. Where is it? That would be the above, right? Nope. The liminal, the mountaintop. That did say moon, right? The moon, yes. Oh, it's right there in my face, the below. So the moon is talking about surrendering to our cycles. That makes sense. Cycles has been coming up a lot. Invitation, magnetism, rhythm, balance, light. How do you deepen your relationship with your own lunar qualities? I am magnetic magic. I shine in the shadows. So this is kind of like being, how she describes it, is like paying attention to your cycles, which absolutely makes sense. But what I'm seeing is like what's happening within that, something that I may not necessarily be seeing or paying attention to intuitively. And that might mean maybe I'm not in sync with my cycles, or there's some sort of cycle or rhythm that I need to deepen or really tap into more. So I do like to read intuitively. How do I think this deck could help someone? I think it can help you, in so many different ways. And I think that really depends on how you view cartomancy or divination through cards overall. I'm not really a predictive type of reader at all. I prefer to use cards, divination, as healing tools and tools for personal growth and spiritual development. So I think the more that you work with a deck, the more that you develop like your own intuitive connection to it. You'll start to develop your own meaning and your own flow and your own way of working with the deck. This to me is like a personal deck. This is something that I use when I need to work on myself, when I need to figure out what's going on with me, on, you know, whether it's spiritual, whether it's personal development, whether I just need some sort of inspiration or guidance. I really like this deck. You can also use it for journaling. Like I said, there are journaling prompts in the guidebook, but like even just like with the moon card that I pulled, right? I could just start writing what's coming to mind for me. And now what's standing out is this that little spark. Like there's a spark there. Like there's something, is there something new that's being initiated? Am I going into a new cycle? And maybe I'm feeling my way into it with my heart because my eyes are closed. So I'm really like letting my intuition lead me. And I feel like her heart is open and there's a lot of emotion and everything like flowing out of the heart. And so for me, this is some of like the creative projects that I'm working on. They're things that I'm really passionate about. I'm going like 100% in, and it feels like this. It feels like, you know what, I'm tuning everything out. I'm going to go within myself. I'm going to let these passions, these exciting feelings just override everything and just allow myself to move forward and lead with my heart. So I think this deck can help you through journaling. It can help you develop your intuition. It can help you kind of connect with yourself on a deeper level. It can maybe help you along your spiritual path with your spiritual journey. You can work with the deck again by, of course, like doing readings. You can journal the cards. You can, you know, write your own keywords for each card and write like a personal story that comes up with each card. Like, when was there a time that I felt like this or had an experience? Like, what does the moon represent to you? And start like looking at the different symbols in the cards and just kind of figuring out what they mean for you. But yeah, I didn't, let me see, I was trying to see. I don't know that the keywords, some of them maybe were relatable, but also kind of different. Oh, like pilgrimage and voyage, those kind of are similar. Haunted place, we've got Dreamtime Enchantment. For me personally, I don't see that too many of the keywords relate in a way that I would be like, this is a repetitive deck. I have seen some decks that were a little more repetitive, and I think too the artwork is so different on each card that it clears that out. Like Storm, and I think there was like a Chaos card. Those could be similar, but then I look at like the energy of a storm is going to be a storm, and then chaos, right? Anything can kind of, I guess, be chaotic. I really do like this deck, and I'm not going to tell you to go get it. Like, that's of course a decision you get to make for yourself, but I like it. And it seems to work for me very well. Whenever I've pulled a card, even like in just pulling like that moon card, it's always triggered something in me or spoken to something that moved me in a way that really made sense and helped me to anchor into things. And then combining that in with going deeper into the card with my, you know, my tarot deck, whether it's the Alchemistical Tarot or just a different deck, has always proven very helpful. So I hope this answered your questions. Let me make sure. Love to hear more. Keywords, working with a deck, it's a guidebook. Yeah, so I think it's a beautiful deck. I think that it's worth it. It's one of my favorite oracle decks, and I think it's so beautiful. The artwork is so gorgeous, and I absolutely love it. So I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. And let me know if you decide to get the deck. All right, thank you. Bye.